So, do we have any questions before I start the session?
Oh, no, please go ahead.
Yeah. So we just left it here. I would like to, so as I said on the last session, I said like I would like to add percentage to the ones which has the percentage ones, and here it can be blank. So I just gonna write some calculator field for it.
A little bit of audio issue. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna right click and duplicate. So it's just gonna give us a duplicate of this particular thing. So it's gonna make it. So here I'm just gonna make percentage. If it's then I'm just removing it. So if it doesn't match this, then it will just gonna give us null value. So we are fine with that. So this I'm just gonna add it to the label. So clicking it will give you a small menu, and here clicking on the three dots will give you a editor where you can edit it. So I'm just gonna edit. So here's it. Can you see it? Like the percentages are for the ones which you write percentage, and
Yep.
whereas for others it's just numbers. Then before I start with the sessions regarding it, so I thought I will just show you this particular PPT, I mean the PDF file which you might have noticed on our website. So I'm just gonna be, maybe I'm not following the same pattern, but I'll try to for touch up everything on this. So do you want me to go on the exact way is this, or is it fine if I go on the way which how it goes?
Whatever you prefer. I mean, I'm broadly trying to learn Tableau, and so however you think it's best achieved. Um, Obviously I'm interested in the problem I'm trying to solve right now is to do the data visualization for this quality dashboard, but broadly I'm interested in learning how to use Tableau. So whatever you think is easiest, the best way to move forward with the course, you're welcome to decide.
Yeah, sure. So mostly with this particular data we can create lots of at least few dashboards. So I guess like I can cover all the things, but not maybe the all the thing which is on our syllabus list. But I think maybe on the, we just started, this is our third session, so maybe on the fifth or sixth we'll just sit for a while, maybe say 10-15 minutes, and we'll just check whether I have covered at least most of them. Then we'll, if I left out anything, then we'll just go talk about it. For example, if I'm not gonna use the conditional filter, so then I'll, on the later class I'll just show you what is the conditional filter and stuff.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So on this dashboard, do we have any other ideas which can be done, or is it fine? Can we create a new dashboard? Like I mean the new charts.
Well, a couple of additional goals I have for this dashboard. What I would like to do is have a summary description of the quality monitors, like an additional column, and then when you hover over it, maybe have the description display. Like currently in the Excel sheet, it's like a big box and it has a title, and then under the title it says what the monitor entails, and then it talks about how the data, where the data comes from. And so I would like to make that the first column, but maybe summarized and describing the title of the monitor, and then when you hover over it, get the detail. And then maybe the rest of the table, I'm wondering if we can keep it as is, or maybe summarize it where you see by quarter, and then you can have a selector on the right that flips it from quarter 1 to quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. And then I was wondering if we could add an additional column on the right side that would show a bullet, like a bullet chart, like how the monitor, the most recent month quality monitor is performing in relation to the threshold. So either under, at, below, at, or above the threshold. And so that was those were my overall goals for that dashboard, for that summary, for that chart. But I'm not sure if it fits well at this point in the course or later on, or what your thoughts are.
Yeah, sure. Maybe the last one I'd like to, maybe I did not get it properly, but we'll talk about it. But before that, we'll just go ahead with the adding the quarter-wise filters on the column on the left regarding description. So for the first thing, I would like to start with the quarter-wise filters. So my question is, so the quarter one would be January to March, or will it be July to September, according to your financial months?
Um, well, and that's the question, right? Do we want to do it quarterly, or do we want to do just the most recent month's data and you can scroll through it? What do you think would be the best visualization of it? Or just show the whole year, or what do you think?
No, it's like everything will go fine, but I'm not sure. We can try multiple things. We can, this is on year. We can show it on maybe the last 3 months or 4 months. So everything goes fine.
So
So
in that case, maybe do it quarterly, July, August, September, and then October, November, December. So 3-month increments starting in July.
so this would be your first quarter, right?
Yeah, July, August, September. You're right. That would be Q1.
Okay, fine. So I would like to create groups for this. So I'm just combining the July, August, September as a quarter one. So if in case, if if our data was not like this, and we had like January, February, March, April, and it's going to be like a calendar year, then we can have like having this month right now is actually, if you could see here, it's showing ABC, which means it's a string. If if we have a real date on our data source, we will have something like a calendar instead of the months. So for our dashboard, I would like to use the groups to make the quarters, but I'll show you how to make use of the date data type dimensions, and how can we create the quarters. So actually, if you say, to be frank, or to say, to be simple, making this January, Feb, March is making quarter one is very simple than making the July, August, September as quarter one. But it's hardly takes few seconds more. But I'm just saying the fact. So I
Okay.
just gonna make it group for this. Right click, create group. So I'm just gonna July, August, September. That's my quarter one. Or let's just name Q1 for simplicity. October, November, December as Q2, January, February, March as Q3. As Q4. Just wondering if I can change the position of it. And just name it as quarters. So I'm just gonna duplicate this particular sheet. So we'll have this as a yearly view. I'm just gonna right click and duplicate. Will give you a new sheet. So I'm just gonna So my question is regarding the values. Having average will make you a quarterly values. Is that fine? Is that the right calculation which you prefer?
Actually, yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think maybe the quarters is difficult. We might need to keep it month by month, because yeah, quarterly data I don't think is very valuable, and ultimately the people viewing it are gonna try to relate to data, So that's how we use it most. So I think a quarter might not
Steve, your
work
voice is
very
not
well.
clear. It's just
Sorry
breaking.
about that.
Yeah. So you are saying like you don't want the to view to on the quarterly. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think it's working. It would work very well.
Mm,
Viewing it like this.
mhm. Okay, no issues. Like if it's gonna be a sum, like say total or a number, we got percentage. That's a reason I'm just thinking. So I had to go with the averages. We have say like sum, which will make a very bigger number. So I had to go with the average. Even I'm not sure if it's the right calculation. That's the reason I just asked you. But okay, let's just have it months and we'll try with that. Or we can maybe try with other data source to have a quarterly view or different views. So going back.
Okay. And then if you go back to delete sheet 2 and go back to sheet 1,
Mm-hmm.
can you add a column to that table in the front that of the name of the indicator, and then make it so that when you hover over it you get the details like the description?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So show here. Actually, I had it before. I just hidden it for our view, so you could see here and maybe as the sentence are bigger, I just want to mm, just check if it's visible here. Yes. Here. So we got the indicators here on the left. And so regarding the description, would it be the reason for trending or which one would be the description which you wanted to be on the Twitter?
Can you open the source Excel data, and then maybe we can look at it together?
Yeah, sure. So maybe instead of going to the Excel, I'm just gonna use the this particular icon like view data. So it just shows up a
Okay.
Excel like view. So this is what our reason for trending percentage indicated reason for trending strategic initiatives. So that's all we got here on the sheet which we have used.
Yeah, I think the sheet we imported does not have the details in it. I think it's on a different sheet in the same Excel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me open that Excel and we can try to join it. This one. So I guess it should be on the first one, right? So are you
Um,
mm-hmm.
we go, yeah, so trending calendar definitions. Column A are the definitions. So that's what I would like to show whenever someone hovers over it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think we can just make it simpler. Just go rid of this. Either we can add it manually. Let me try in the Tableau itself, but I guess just give me a second. So we have it as a single cell. So if we had as a different column, it's very easier to do it on a Tableau. But as we have on a single cell, which shows the indicator, also the description, so we have to manually make the changes to it. So I'm just gonna make it. So do they really match everyone?
Well, I mean, so
The
you'll notice, like, sorry, under like uh, like 4, for example,
mm-hmm.
you see like the the indicator values. So all 4 have the same definition, right? So it's for each quarter, it's a different, and so 4 they have different components, right? Pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll see here, number 4.
Means so the number 4, which here is actually the we got only this for everything. So for all the 4 we should match with this, right?
Yeah, exactly. You see the column D, there's subsets to 4, but they all have the same definition.
Mm-hmm. Then then that's great. We can just have to add a indicator value. We can join with that. Okay, go with indicator value, and I'll just name this as a description. It's going to be one. So 1, 2, 3. So this has been merged. So I'm just going to make it normal for our. I'm just making a new sheet, so it will be easier for us. Just like this. Sometimes Tableau might consider this also the part of the value, so I'm just cleaning up so that we don't really wonder about it on the data level at Tableau. So are we good?
I think so.
Just delete this. Yeah, looks good. So I'm just gonna make it definitions. Tableau. So I'm just gonna save it. I'm just pointing it to the right file. So definitions tab, yes, here we go. And indicator value here and indicator value here. So I'm just gonna join it. See what's we got some error. Mismatch the whole number and as we got it as string. Check it out. So it says like they have different data types. So let me check what's the mistake I did to this. Let me check if we had any space on it. Yes, there was a space. Oh, I think it should be from here. Okay, I'm just making it. I'll just delete it. Try it again. Let me just try it. Sorry for that. Sorry for the delay. I'm just working on like the data types are not missing. Just
Realistic, I imagine that's what I will be faced with as well. So I'm interested to see how you resolve it.
mm-hmm. So I'm just gonna check. It's taking it as a. It's good. I'm just going back. It's we have our data is in a pivot way, so it's not just matching up. So just checking it again. Oops, Tableau stopped. Sorry.
I'm pretty happy now.
It's happened, right?
It seems to be happy. I think it's working now.
Yeah, that's great. So we just got as a two different tables, and this should go to our tooltip. So the one more thing regarding the tooltip is, I think you remember like yesterday, sorry, the day before yesterday, I just edited a few of the things. So this particular thing is on the kind of a manual mode. So I'm just gonna reset it. Before I reset, I'm just gonna copy it, reset. Giving it reset will make everything to be back to its normal stage. So I'm just gonna make this paste the one which I copied before. Let's see if it shows the description. Yes. Making the show header here. So I feel it's working good. Yep. Yep, Steve. Is it fine?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saving it so I don't miss it. So let's see how it looks here. Just Steve, I hear some background noise from you.
Is it me or is it you? Because
I,
I'm in a closed office. I'm not
okay.
really sure if it's me.
Even I'm on a close room. I thought like it was you. I'm just wondering maybe it could be some distortion in our
Okay,
internet Okay, let's see. No problem, no issues.
I
Now,
will
now it's fine. Yeah.
I will mute my connection, and then if it's me, it should get quiet. Just a second.
No, for the past few seconds it's not there, so it's okay. We'll just go on with the session. So no problem.
Can we maybe make like if we wanted to edit the indicators, make them shorter, how would we do that? Would we do it in the source file, or what would be the best way to make to make that narrower, to abbreviate it?
So to make it abbreviated, either we could make the Tableau take only the first 15 characters, or you could say, for example, here you could say, uh, I don't see a pattern because, for example, if you say we have bracket on all the indicators, here we don't have brackets at the end. So if, for example, if we had something like that, we can say stop, show me only the values before the brackets, but whereas here we don't really have that.
And if I manually update the source file
Mm-hmm.
and then do like refresh, would it refresh all the indicators? Would it change them?
Yes, yes, it will. We have to just
No.
refresh it. So we have to just change the data source and just check it if it's pointing to be the right one by just going to the data source connection, edit connection. So right now it's actually pointing to our file here. So if you have edited it and just click on refresh inside, right click refresh, it should be working fine.
Oh, great.
Sometimes, like I have noticed, if you save it as an package workbook, if you go to edit connection, this would be like some file called Tableau temp, something like that. So you just repoint it to the file which you have. Like for me, it's on my desktop, so I can just go and click it on desktop. So for you, if you find it on showing on Tableau temp, you just point back to your desktop. So it's because we have used it as an export, sorry, I mean packaged workbook, we are seeing that thing.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So just want to just move the labels here. Yeah, we are good with this. So we can try some just basic charts. I'll just show you the different charts here and using this, and then we can maybe try some other dashboards. So
Great.
I can just pressing the control key and selecting each of them will make all the pills to be selected. So I'm just gonna drag and drop it away. Let's see. So just removing it. So taking an example here, so just consider on the columns I just have indicator, on the rows I just have some measure. Like for our case, I not sure having summation of all the percentages will give you the right ones. So just give me a second. Just want to reset the tooltip. So you could see when you have it for other data source, it works fine. So you could see this particular has the highest, and this particular was is the highest. It got like about 100, sorry, 1194. So to make it to be on the sort order, you can just click the icons here, just make it
Yeah.
the sort by this one or this, but this should be static. If you want it to be working by the this particular measure, you can just go to right click, sort, and then yes, it's actually by default it has selected the right one. Sometimes I have noticed that even if you click these buttons, it would be ordered in this way. Like on the manual, you will find them sorted, but it's not by the field. As far as our example right now is showing, so make sure it's on the sort order, ascending or descending based on your needs. Click the field, select the field on which you want them to be sorted. So I just want the summation of this particular values, just clicking OK, so it's there. So even if we change anything, or for example I'm just adding a filter here, say I'm just gonna make the indicator and drag and drop here, and just select, say, I just want to see the last time, this alone, the dimensions alone. So the bar should be properly arranged by, even though if we change the values. So that's why I wanted you to make sure over here on the whether it's on the field which you require. And other thing is like this every, as I said earlier, each of the points we shown on the tableau is called marks. So you could always see which type of marks there. Sometimes it shows on automatic. You can always see on the small icon will show you what marks has been used. It could be sometimes T, square. So you can always override it by selecting bar, or maybe you can have it as a line chart here. So you could see line chart works very well with the date, and bar chart goes very well with the dimensions. But though sometimes I've noticed people who likes to have line chart even for the dimensions. It's based upon the
Okay.
requirement, and you could just change the marks by just clicking on it to circle shapes. You can just have like for each indicators, if you want to have different shapes, you just have to copy the indicator to the shapes, and it has different shapes. Or for example, say you want it to be colored shaped by the uh, assigned assigned persons, you can just take it to the shapes. So you could see Anna has a circle, sorry, not Anna, I'm extremely sorry, it's Anne. Blair has square. So you could just clicking this small icon, like it says highlight selected items. So if you click on this particular list, you could make sure where are they and to which indicators are they have been allocated. So if you like to see their names, you can just drag to the label, so you could see all their names here. And
Okay.
by default, Tableau avoids the this particular text which you see is called label. Sometimes when it overlaps, the Tableau hides it itself. If you really wanted to see it, you can click it and say allow labels to overlap other marks. It's kind of sometimes kind of messy. If we have our view as a dynamic one, for example, we have some filters. So sorry, I just missed a point before saying this. The You could drag and drop it, like if you see the label here, can you see the plus symbol here?
Yeah.
So if you just
Yes.
drag the labels, you can just make sure is everything is visible. For example, here it's messy. So this similar way, you can actually make the labels uh, to be visible, not by overlapping. But we have some drawbacks when you do the manual positioning of the labels, because if, for example, say, just show you just four of Yes. So I'd like to go with the one is 5. I'd like to go to 5. It looks correct now. But as far as I have noticed, maybe I couldn't reproduce the issue which I want to explain you. The thing is, you'd see the labels to be on the different, uh, what to say, the position should be not good. You get my point, or do you want me to refresh and explain it well?
No, I understand.
There are labels which you can see, like right now I just have repositioned it from the default position, it's automatic position. So sometimes when you're making some use of filters or having some dynamic measures or something, so the position would be not correct. So that's the thing which I wanted to say, but look, I couldn't really reproduce the issue. Let's just make it normal. Yeah. So by default, this would be unchecked. And if you really want to show all the marks, you could make use of this and edit it, but it doesn't work for dynamic. So just a small warning here. And other marks which I wanted to explain is the text just gonna show the text which you have it on the here text shelf. So it's just gonna be names instead of things. So you could even have different like a word cloud, or you can text would be useful when you have it as an text tables, the normal cross tabs. And the filled map would be useful when you have a geographic cities, like cities, countries on your data source. Right now we don't have one, so I couldn't really show it. Maybe on the next data source which you use, I'll show you that.
Uh, for filled map, what kind of data do you need? Like names of cities, or like coordinates, like GPS coordinates, or zip codes, or what do you typically use as the key content?
City name is enough. Like Tableau finds itself the latitude and longitude for some regions, or maybe some cities which have uh, like common names. For example, say we have something called Salem in India, and I have seen Salem in some other countries though. So that time in Tableau ask us to give us the coordinates of it, but by default Tableau itself finds the coordinates for it. So just the city name or country name or state name is enough for us. I have been said by my colleagues that the zip codes works well too, but I have never got a chance to try that. Maybe if we got time on our sessions, we could try with that. Did I clear your point? I mean, did I clear your question, Steve?
Yeah, very helpful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
And so what would you categorize the data, the pill for the location, would that be considered a number, or like what kind of category would that fall in? What would like the name of the city, like what kind of,
So,
would it be just text?
yeah, sure. It's gonna be like a globe here. Maybe I can show you the or sample workbook which has it. So it would be something like this here. So it would be a string, but the geographic role which you could see here is country by region or city. It's Tableau will itself consider it, take it, or if you feel it's not right, you can always change between them. So this is how it looks. Okay, Steve?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So it just takes the latitude longitude by itself generated. So nothing to, if in case Tableau doesn't find the location, you can always give the latitude longitude manually, or you can have it even on your data source. It's up to us. We can maybe try some examples on the later. And here for the other thing on the pie chart, thus we can have pie chart and give the angle, for example.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So I couldn't really, not sure which would be the best one to be on the angle. I can show you on the other data source maybe. This Gantt chart is our regular Gantt chart where you can have by size by something, say like this. And other things are polygon. We don't really use polygon, but it's useful when you have the, say for example, consider you know where each of the point would come. You know the like the xy points. You can make use of the polygon to create your shapes, but we don't really use polygons here. It's a very, as far as I've seen, the if you consider I've seen like 1,000 dashboards, I've seen just 1 to 2 dashboard which uses the polygons. So we
Okay.
won't we won't talk much about the polygons here. Um, so these are
So,
the mark.
Rajiv,
Mm-hmm.
can we look at my source data, and there's some of the other sheets have some additional background data. Maybe you can give me some ideas on what the best visualizations are for some of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So which one do you like to see? Any particular sheet?
Um, yeah, if you bring up the sheet, the file, the Excel file I shared, maybe we can walk through some of the sheets, and we can decide from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like like plotted specimens, which is next to, maybe click
Yes.
on that one.
Yes.
So, so category A are all individual phlebotomists, and if you go to maybe blood culture contamination, see, one of the next one has a minute. I just wanted to see which one. See the blood culture contamination and the clotted specimens, they overlap for the same phlebotomist. So column A is the same, you know, the same people.
Mm-hmm.
And then how about recollect log? Can you click on that one as well? See to the right from the sheet you're on. So yeah, that wouldn't help. But the two ones we looked at, clotted specimens and blood culture contamination, I'd love to see what kind of visualization. So they're essentially quality markers, like the number of bad specimens, either clotted or contaminated specimens. Those specific workers have generated, and so maybe if we can connect them and then come up with a single visualization, you know, like a ball. I mean, whatever you think is best. See
Yeah.
how it would work.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And there's
So.
some totals in the bottom. Maybe we have to remove the total rows, you know, because they might cause a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I think the data tables, the format might not lend itself. Well, I'd love to see how you would organize it differently to be able to to get Tableau to recognize it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. So this. Yeah. So I
So
think this.
clotted and blood culture contamination, I guess, are the two I want to visualize and relate for those individuals.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm just gonna close this thing. Sorry. I wanted to bring this as a
Oh,
new data source, so I'm just gonna go it here and click as a new data source. So I'm just gonna repoint again. So the one which I did before was editing it. So we got the blood culture contamination. Let's see how it looks in Tableau. It's not really correct. I just want to try with the data interpreter and let's see how it goes.
Sure.
So it has Tableau has combined the both the headers to form a, you could see here, May 16 total collector, May 16 contaminated collector. So we want it to be in a pivot way, so it will be easier for us on the Tableau. Just gonna press shift and press it here, so all the columns are selected. Let's see then we pivot and let's see how the result comes.
What did you do? You did pivot?
Yes, pivot. Like I'll just go back. So yeah, I just selected the all the columns which has the data and right click and pivot.
Now what does the pivot do again?
So pivot, which basically does the ones in the columns will become as rows. So you could see here, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
this headers will be like the name of, like I'll just show you to compare the things. So it's gonna take, for example, FIP16 as a header name and this as a value. So what this basically does is, I'll just give you an example. June, say, or you just have like June 10, July 12, something like this. So what it does
Okay.
is like just we have something called transpose on Excel. So what it is make the columns to rows and rows to columns. So pivot is very similar to
Okay.
this. So our data looks like this on our data source, and what Tableau, by clicking the pivot, what it does is just made it the rows to columns and columns to rows. So just gonna give it as a pivot name, and this gonna be like pivot value. So this is how the pivot works. Did you get it?
Yeah, and then for my data source, there's data on how many samples in total they have collected and then how many are contaminated. How would you deal with that? Because what we're interested in is they're contaminated, but also the number, you see like column D is how many bad samples they have. Column C is how many good samples they have,
Mm-hmm.
or total samples
Mm-hmm.
in that month.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you deal with that?
So we have something like here, April 16 contaminated, and whereas you could see here like total contaminated. I could make it as a like a filter to be on the sheets, or maybe a different, say a calculated field. Like we have multiple wells. I would first suggestion which comes to my mind is you make use it as a filter to differentiate them, or we can always go to the calculated field. I can show you maybe in another few minutes. Let's try that, shall we, Steve?
Please.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah, that'd be
sure.
fine.
Yeah, because I just want to, even I'm not very sure like how that was a good question. Like I might have gone with the filters on the first option. Second option would be to use with the calculator field, and the other ways would be changing my, like what you say, changing the way the columns look in my data source. So as you said, maybe I can have like contaminated and this as a like uh, like I can show you how else can I have brought this. So this March, I'm just going to select the total collector. So I just want to try both of them. It's a challenging part for me, so I can try that. I'm just going to pivot it. looks like I was expecting to make two different pivots, but it makes a single pivot. So I have no other option to. So I have to go with the pivot the Tableau suggests, or I have to change the way the data looks like. Just let me try with this pivot itself. Oops. Data interpreter. And I just want to make sure like these are to be deleted. So let's see what can we do here. So I just can add a filter here, so which will take off these particular last three things. Add for the meter was full, exclude total specified, total contaminated, and the audit report. Okay, so we are good with this. This I'm just going to make it pivot. I couldn't, sorry Shiv, I couldn't make the way like I was expecting, but still I'm just going ahead with this, and let's see how we can make it, or else we can change it in the Excel file to make the ones which you are expecting. Fine?
Sure.
Yeah. So we are good with this, and I'll just split it because we have months and this on the same thing. So hash is something which can help us here. Let's see. Split. Let's see the formula here. It uses hyphen. Like what I did here is the field name has the two things which we need, like what value is shown here and what's the month of it. So I just used the right, and when for the split it just gave us only the month's name, but I want even the years to be there. So I'm just going here and going ahead with this, just looking. I just want the first space to be the ones to split the data. So I'll just make, I'll replace the hyphen with the space. So what the function says is nothing. It's just gonna split the uh, pivot value before the minus here, like how it was before, like this, the hyphen. So it's gonna split the data by April as a one column and 16 hash contaminated as other column, and it's gonna making the one will show us the first column now data, and using trim will just remove the extra spaces, so nothing much about the trim here. So instead of making the hyphen to be the divider splitter, I want the space to be the splitter. See how it works. So I made the date to be on this. I'm just gonna rename it as a date, and I also want this to be, or maybe I can copy it. Let's see if I can. Wait, I'll just go ahead with the split. Just give some this, editing it. Oops. So having this will make show the characters after the space, first space. So we got the name. So I'm just gonna make it measure type, and this I could like to have it as a measure, and I like to hide this. If you want, we can just unhide it later. So This is the first time I'm just meeting, like I'm just seeing some error like this, and we don't have much on the error too. I think we have to close the data and open it again. Is that fine? Sorry, Steve.
Oh yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I have to close the Tableau and reopen it again. Data, new data source. I'm going to Excel, opening it up, dragging the birth confirmation culture here, and I'd like to add the cluttered specimens to. By default, it has taken it. Before I just want the data indicators to be there. Oops. Date. So these blank space are nothing but the data which we got from the clutter specimen. So I just want to.
And if it's blank, it means zero, like there haven't been any contaminated specimens.
No, it's for the name. Like if we have it on here, it means like we don't have anything. But whereas on the header name, like we just got the total collected and the contaminated to be here, but we don't have the names for this, as we didn't have any header for this. So that's the reason we see it the blank here. So I'm just gonna.
No, yeah, yes, but the blanks in this case mean 0. It doesn't mean there's no data. It means it was 0, like they had no contaminations.
Mhm. No, it's for Angela's. If you could see Angela February 16th, she got 1. So here you could see 1.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
maybe I can show you some other example. So ACC for the month of May 16 they had 4. ACC for the month of May 16 we had 4. So this should be named as clotted here. So that was what I wanted to
Mm.
say. Get my
Oh,
point?
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If we have null here, it means I do get your point. Like if we have null here, it means we don't have any contamination, but we don't have the headers here. So I'm just gonna write the formula here. So if split pivot table is equal to, I can write like something. Let me check if it's a null. So we have something. Yes, here we go. Save this. Let me try again with the numbers. Let's see. Let me try making it a number. Now this time it works. So these are the total collected. Would it be specimens? Like I guess it's specimen, like total collected specimens for this particular.
Yeah,
How do you
for
pronounce it?
that person.
How do you pronounce it?
Uh,
Pila,
yeah,
pila,
phlebotomy.
phlebotomist. Okay,
Phlebotomy.
phlebotomist.
Yeah, they're the people that draw blood.
Sorry.
They are the people in the hospital that draw your blood.
Okay, I get it.
Phlebotomist.
Phlebotomist. Okay. So Angela, I guess ACC means Angela. So Angela has collected about on total on the sum. So she has collected about 104 for Ashley. So here our list. So when we have it, by right clicking making show filter, just give you some list here. So you can just always make yourself this
How
and
did
just
you do that?
I'll just show you again. So right click on the filter or on anything, just make it show filter. Can you see it?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
great.
making it will just give you this. So I just want to show for the measure type. So but by clicking this triangle, I just want to make this as a single valued list, so I can just change it any over time. I mean, I can change it dynamically. So what you see is her clotted specimens. What you see is their total collector, and these are the contaminator. So I could maybe sort this, sorted by descending order by the field of measure. Let it be the sum. So Sandra had the highest contaminator specified. So this is how it works. So if you wanted to hide this particular blanks, you wish you don't really want to see the blank files. I mean the blank records. You can move it to the filters and just have like say sum. I want at least one to be there and give OK. So you just got the list of the people who have the contaminated. You don't see the ones who don't have contaminated mission.
How did you do that? You right clicked and on the how did you do that?
Yeah, I can show you that again. I'm just gonna pressing control and moving it will give you a copy of it to the copy wherever you want. So I'm just control and copying it to the filters. So I'm just clicking on sum.
Oh,
On sum I'm just clicking on at least. I'm saying like at least it should be 1. So in case for our data we don't have zeros here, so if you say like it should have only zeros, or you could have like say I want to see people who have only 2 specimens, who have 2 contributed specimens, so you can go
oh,
with
okay.
that. So I'm just going with the one for our example, so you could see the list of people who have the just one or one more than one. Or even you could have it by right clicking it and making it show filter will give you a list here, so you can always make use of this, and you can even say like who has 2, like more than 2. I like to format this. Just give me a second. I'm just
So
wondering
what
what.
would be the best what would
Mm-hmm.
be the best visualization? What would be the best visualization? So there's a whole list of phlebotomists,
Mm-hmm.
individual people,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to see as a percentage how many clotted, how many um, how many contaminated, and then the combination of clotted and contaminated. Essentially, I want to gauge their performance, right? I want to visualize their performance, and their performance is really a function of how many clotted and contaminated specimens as a percentage of the total work that they've performed. How could I best visualize that?
Mm-hmm. I get it. So let's start with this bullet chart, because I can see that you wanted to see them maybe like as a bullet chart with a reference line. So I like to try with that. Just let me try this. Total collector. Measure type equal to total collector. Then show me the measure. Let's make it 0. Just right click and duplicating it. Another duplicate for the denominator. So this should be for my content. So we are
So,
basically
can you walk
mm-hmm.
can you walk me through again how you do this? Like, how do you add a measure, and then how do you get to the screen that you're on now, where you're editing the formula?
So we have to just uh, either create calculator field, so you'll just go to this particular editor here, or you can multiple ways, like just clicking here create a calculator field, or right click and making create calculator field, or even just go to what I did is just make a duplicate of it, and then, like, for example, I just made a duplicate here
Oh,
and
okay.
went for edit. So going edit will show you the formula on this particular measure.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so this would be for our plot specimens. Just delete it because we got the things to just duplicate the sheet. Just remove them. So this is just a very basic table which shows all the measures of theirs. So for example, you could see Becky has total correct is 75. So she's showing the right thing. So just give me. No, if I want to show it that way, it should be like this. So Tableau suggests we could go ahead with this. So this is what Tableau is suggesting based on our view, which says you could go ahead with, you could try some of these charts. Right, let's try with the bullet charts. If you just hover over the bullet charts, it says it needs 0 or more dimensions and 2 measures. We have only 1 dimension, so that's the reason it's not suggesting the bullet chart. Let me try this with the total collected and the contaminated. Still it's not going. Sometimes Tableau does not really suggest things. For example, it says even though we have two measures and a dimension, it's not suggesting the bullet graphs, but we can, though if it's not showing, we can try ahead with that. So I just like this particular table style, so I'm just keeping the same and just going ahead with the new sheet. So I'm just gonna right click and let's try to add a reference line which can show their size, person. Let's see if it shows it. And make this line a red line. So here SMF, like it should be, I'm just put them into the tooltip so you can know who it is. Sandra has 136 collected and whereas she has kind of 6 contaminated. So let's see whether it's kind of bullet graphs. Is it fine, Steve, or would you like to add something else to this?
Yeah, I'm wondering, maybe we can make, like make the number of contaminated, the number of clotted, like
Mm-hmm. Or to be seen here. Yes, or expecting something like this?
I'm trying to think about what could be helpful here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Other thing I wanted to show you is like this just it's saying 0.00. I don't really want to see it, so I'm just going to click on this contaminated which is on the text, so that's what it's shown here. So I'm just right clicking it, format, and going to the numbers. It was actually on automatic. I'm going into number custom and saying I don't want to see the decimal, so I'm just making the decimal to 0. So you could see it's not showing 0 and it's kind of need to, so I can make it bigger, and even I could uh, like color the bars based upon their contaminated. We can have some threshold and we can color them. So can we try with that?
sure.
So just some more, small idea which I got by seeing it, because the color of the bars just looks same and it doesn't give us any other information. So by clicking the arrow, create parameter, or you can also right click here and say create parameter. Parameter is nothing but the user input, so it helps us to get input from the user. That's what the parameter is. So threshold by the, let's have it integer, and I want it to be on range, say 1 to 50 maybe, and let's have this step by 1. So it's created here where you could see on the parameters, show parameter control. So it's just going to give us a neat looking slider type, or you can change it to type in if you like just want that. So I'm just happy with this slider going with that. Mm. I'm creating a calculator field which will just help us to color it. So the contaminator, I'm just gonna right click and create calculator field. So say if contaminator is greater than threshold, then okay, else, or I can just name below threshold, and let's see, this particular confirmation will help us to understand whether the calculation which we wrote right now it's right or wrong. So the calculation is valid, so we are good with this. I like to rename it as threshold check or threshold indicator. So it's here. I'm just dragging, sorry, I'm just dragging to the color shelf. Just check it out. So the red peel means it has some error. When you hover it, you can see the threshold it cannot be applied to user defined aggregate. So actually I just made some changes to the threshold indicator which we had. So that's the reason. So just gonna replace it. When you drag in and place it over it, it will get replaced. Okay, let's have it as a green, and below threshold we have it as a red. greater than or equal to, let's have it equal to, yeah. So these are the people who have lesser lesser contamination, but I just doubt if they don't really have zero, but we're happy with zero. So I'm just making some edit, and so I'm just I'm just adding a condition where it will check. Sorry, I just made a mistake. Oops. So about threshold and else. Okay, this is what I wanted to make it. So sorry for the confusion. So I can explain you again what I have done here. So I just wrote the formula which checks the sum of contaminated with whether it is more than threshold. So if it is more than threshold, it is above threshold, or else it's okay. The reason for adding this is even without this it works fine, right? Yes, yes, it does work fine. So is it clear, Steve, or do you want me to explain it?
Yes, but could we make a few changes? So
Mm-hmm.
the clotted specimens, the threshold is 0.5%. So if that phlebotomist has equal to or higher than 0.5 no higher than 0.5% clotted specimens, it's an issue. And then if they have higher than 1% um, uh, contaminated, it's an issue as well. Is there any way to build in those thresholds? So it's percentage of total. So the number of samples that have been contaminated or the number of samples that have been clotted as a percentage of total. Is there a way to visualize that?
Would you like to try on this coloring, or do you want to have it as a different visualization?
So what I would like to do is maybe have the section of the bar that represents clotted and contaminated be red, and then the rest of the bar be green, and then the label on the right side show the total, so that we know, okay, 6 out of 240 were either clotted or contaminated, and then if the percentages are above the threshold, color the whole bar red, and if the percentages were below the threshold, then color the whole bar green.
So it's fine with this example itself, okay, right? I can try on the same example on the bar chart.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
sure. Then I'll just edit it and make it a threshold percentage. Make it a float so we can give the value from 0 to 100. And step says I'm just gonna take it off.
What is float data? What does float mean?
Float means with the ones with the decimal. So the integer means the whole number. So the 1 to 3, and whereas float will be like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. That's the difference between float and
Okay,
integer.
okay.
Show parameter control. So it should be 6 by 132 and 4 by 137. Just,
And so the 6, like for the first one, the 6, is that the combination of clotted and contaminated?
Sorry, what was that?
The
Mm-hmm.
6, that
Mm-hmm.
number, is it the combination of clotted and contaminated, or is it one of the two?
No, it's just the contaminated, not the clotted. I have not added the clotted. Would you like to add them together? But
Yeah.
I, I thought
Well,
it's.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
can we show them as two separate marks? Like show the clotted, show the contaminated?
Yeah, let me try that. Add a reference line for the clotted and make it a sum. Value person and just want the color to be brighter, so I'll just go with the yellow color. So the cloud he has some Ashley he has 7. So is it fine? I want this to be 9 and the color to be a little more brighter. Steve, is it okay? Is it what you expected?
Yeah, and then is there a way to add the value next to those two lines so we can see how many? Or you get the number, I guess.
Sorry, you are not clear, Steve. Sorry for that. Can you just repeat it?
When you hover over the line, will it show you the value, or how will you know the value for the marks?
So it's if you hover over it, you'll just get it. Like here, you could see the clotted specimen is there 3 and contaminated is 1. So that's how it works. Or you could, when you make it smaller, you actually have something here. So as we had a very bigger bar chart to us, we couldn't really make it possible. But when you have it like this, you could see when you hover over each of the lines, you could see the particular value of it. Can you see it?
Yeah, and then can you make the bars change color, like if they're above the threshold, if either clotted or contaminated is above the threshold?
Sure. Based on the percentages, right?
Yeah, and so clotted is if it's above 0.5%, it's above the threshold, and for contaminated, if it's above um, uh, 2%, it's above the threshold.
Sorry, what was it? What percentage?
0.5 for clotted,
Yes.
2% for 2% for contaminated.
2%. Yeah. So just making a copy of it. Rename to contaminated. 2 percentage. Percentage. And for this editor, you can always drag and drop the fields. So you can, let me try. Can you see it? The orange border.
What are you dragging and dropping? I'm sorry, I can't. Difficult to follow.
So I'm just, instead of I typing the name of the parameters which I have it here, I'm just drag and dropping here. So I want, so I just drag drop the threshold percentage plotted inside, it just got the name itself.
Oh, okay.
So this will be handy for you sometimes if you are not sure of the names, or if you can see it here and you want it, it will be helpful. So this is a
Yeah.
small tip. Steve, like, I'm just little. I just want to check if I'm right with the formula. Am I, Steve?
Yeah, please.
So am I correct with the formula? I just want to check you with that. Like the contaminated by the total collected into 100 will give you the percentage of the contaminated. So is that right, or maybe sometimes I do make mistakes when
Right, the number of contaminated divided by the total collected for that person, right,
Yes.
will be percentage, and then that has to be um, below percent to be under the threshold.
No, sorry again. Like you said, like they should be below this.
It should be below the threshold. I mean, I'm not sure what threshold clotted means, and then it's contaminated, not
Oops.
clotted.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
If the threshold is the 2%, then it should be below the 2%. So smaller than 2%. Smaller or equal than 2% is below the threshold.
Mm, sorry, Steve, you are not audible.
Yeah, same for me. The sound is bad on your side.
Just give me a second. Let me just check if my Wi-Fi is fine. Am I audible now?
Yes, better.
Yeah, I'm just moved closer to the Wi-Fi. So, clutter, just, am I right with the mathematical formula? Like I'm just kind of weak, weak at mathematics, so I was just asking you it.
The problem is I can't see what data, what your calculations are going into it. You know, I don't know what's under clotted specimens or total collected, but just by the number of red bars, I think there is something wrong.
Yes. So this is nothing but the number which we had on the clotted specimens. Yeah, these total numbers. So it's gonna be, say, for Sandra, the cloud specification is 11. So this here is 11. So it's gonna say 11 divided by 136 into 100. So if you don't mind, I'll just use the calculator here to check. I'm just right.
Oh, so that's all the data added up. Is there any way to divide it by month? So I can just do by month?
Yeah, sure.
That's where the sum comes from. Okay, I didn't understand that.
Mm-hmm. I just added up the date here. So what you see is 4 different months. So let's see. Do we have only the 5 months? March, April, May, June. Yes. So, so is the data valid now? Can you just help me with that? Steve?
Uh, well, I mean, I get the idea, you know. So thank you. That's fine. I can check it later and make sure it's correct. It's correctly linked and it works.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I can see the principle. And so if we wanted to change the visualization to 1 month at a time with a toggle on the right where you could select the month, how would you do that? Or it would just show February and then I can change on the right the month?
So you could just right click and show filter. So that you just got
Okay.
list, and I'm just making it a single value drop down. So easier for us. So we just make February. You can have for different months which you want to. Or if you want as a multiple drop down, you can always choose the, say you just see March and July, you can compare together.
What did you select? How
Here.
did you do that? The problem is whenever you do something and you move your mouse really quick,
Mm-hmm.
because of the lag, I cannot see your mouse move, so I cannot see what you actually do.
Oh, sorry for that. I'm just not sure what's the problem. And here you could see the triangle here.
Oh, okay.
So just clicking on it, like you can select what kind of list do you want, the drop down, or is it going to be single value or multiple values. So first I had it as a
Okay.
single value drop down, then I just had it as a multiple value drop down. Clicking on this
Oh,
drop down, I just selected June and March.
okay, great.
Sorry,
Uh,
Steve, what was that? It was not clear.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
Yeah, sure. So I was just not sure about the formula, the mathematical formula which is used here. So other than that, how it works, I'm very pretty sure that it's gonna check for each of the analyst. I mean, sorry, each of the plum plumbotomist. Sorry for that, and for each of the months. So the way the Tableau works, I'm fine with it. I'm just a little confused whether the formula is right or not. It's just dividing the, for example, say here the it's checking if 1 by 24 into 100, which will be, say, calculator. Oops, calculator is not working here. 1 by 30 will give you something around 0.333 to 100. So 1 out of 30 is nothing but it will be like around 3%, and what we have on our side is 2, and that's the reason it's highlighted.
Oh, okay.
So whereas here if you see 0, he has nothing to show. Check. I can make this as a file to check it. So I couldn't really find out the best example to show you, but having changing the this will change everything. So if I made it 0, everything's red. Something around 50. So I'm just wondering if the formula is right.
Well, you should probably change the other one for flattened as well. If you make that one 50 as well, everything should be green.
Sorry. One.
You should
Okay.
change, you should change both threshold values. The plotted should change above 0.5 and you should switch to the color.
This one. Yeah. So it
There are
could.
some problems with the data. There are some problems with the data because in some cases the little lines are above the bar. It basically means that the plotted the 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 bad specimens are bigger than the total, which is not possible.
This one here, which you could see.
Yeah.
ADJ. Let me just check it. Just give me a second. Should be plotted right. ADJ is 4. But so my question is, like we have only 2 here. Are you expecting 2 and the 4 to be added up, or because where you could see on March actually had 2 specimen collected and 4 plotted specimens, so that's how the data is here also. Steve, I can't hear you.
Uh, Maybe I don't know.
No, because if you want them to be added, I can say like 2 plus 4 will give you 6, and the bar could be bigger and it might even come here, but I'm not sure whether it should come or not. Like if you want it to be added, it's simply easier. I can just create another calculator field which will add you the clotted specimen and also the total collected. So I'm just not sure of it.
So Rashid, how how is it working on your side? Is the quality of the audio good? Because on my side it's very difficult. And I'm not sure I'm on enterprise Wi-Fi, but are you on enterprise Wi-Fi, like on high-speed internet? Because there is a lot of background noise and there's a lot of audio distortion. It's difficult to follow the lecture.
hmm I'm actually on my home. I have a high speed internet, like it's about like 100 Mbps, and I'm not sure like what's the issue. But as far as I'm concerned, like it's a very high internet here.
maybe it's the Wi-Fi connection at work. Maybe I need to switch to Ethernet tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see if is it something I need to troubleshoot or you need to troubleshoot.
Yeah, sure. If it's something from me, I can maybe try with my mobile internet and it could be shared, and maybe I can try with that. But I believe my Wi-Fi is faster than my mobile internet, so let's see. You can try it tomorrow. If you're still facing this issue, I can connect with my mobile internet and let's see how it goes too.
Because this time works best for me, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., but I will be at work, so I need to figure out what the best connection is. You know, if it's a Wi-Fi issue at work and I need to get on Ethernet or do a different way, you know.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Yes. Mm, okay. So, would you like to try anything else on this, or can we close up this session?
Oh yeah, welcome to close it because it is getting close to, it's 1 p.m. here as well, so I do have to wrap up soon.
Yeah, I get it. Lunchtime, right?
Yeah, well, I'll get ready for a 1:30 meeting.
Oh, okay, fine. I do get it. So I can send you the file. Do you have Tableau 10 in your personal desktop or the office desktop?
Yes,
Yeah, okay, then that's great.
yes, I do.
So I will share you the file. If I miss sending you the file, you can always ask me, then I can send you when I see the mail. So this will be helpful for you to play around. And even you can, if I made any mistake, you can always point me that. I'll be glad to change it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Steve. Yeah,
Would 11 a.m. tomorrow work for you? 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.?
yeah, it works for me. It's fine for me.
Okay, great. So I will see you tomorrow then.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Bye.
You too.
Thank you.